Welcome to NIFA's Lender Operations Training. Our mission at NIFA, growing Nebraska communities through affordable housing and agribusiness. Our vision, NIFA leverages its resources, data, knowledge, and technology with effective statewide partnerships and collaboration to promote vibrant Nebraska communities through affordable housing solutions and agribusiness. Our 5 values: commitment, integrity, collaboration, innovation, and stewardship. NIFA programs. You'll notice as we go through this presentation, our first home programs are listed in green and the welcome home programs in that bronzy orange color. For the first home program, first home targeted and home buyer assistance, borrowers are welcome to go conventional, FHA, VA, or RD. With our military home program, we do not have a conventional option. They can only go FHA, VA, or RD. For the welcome home programs, they're welcome to go conventional, FHA, VA, or RD. NIFA program eligibility requirements. For the first home program for eligibility income, we're looking at the borrower, co-borrower, non-borrowing spouse, and co-signer on conventional loans only. For household size, we're looking at the borrower, co-borrower, non-borrowing spouse, and any dependent children of the borrower under the age of 18. For the welcome home program and eligibility income, we're looking at the borrower, co-borrower, and co-signer. And for household size, we're only counting the borrower and co-borrower, but it truly doesn't matter for the welcome home program, as the income limit is the same for all counties, no matter the household size. Income sources for the first home program only. We're looking at the borrower, co-borrower, non-borrowing spouse, any occupant who wishes to take title, and a co-signer. Again, that's only for conventional products. NIFA projects income forward for the next 12 months. The income types we're looking for are full-time, part-time, seasonal, temporary employment, self-employment, unemployment, child support and/or alimony, and VA disability. And of course, here at NIFA, we're looking at more than base income. We also add in overtime, bonus, commission, shift diff, salary in lieu of benefits, and any per diem unless offset by a list of expenses also provided to us. For the welcome home program, for the borrower, co-borrower, and co-signer, we do not do a forward income projection, as we're only looking at your lender qualifying income from your AUS findings. Household income, first home program only. Income calculated by your underwriter should be equal to or less than NIFA's calculated household income. Income documentation, we're looking for current pay stubs and written VOEs for each current job. 30 days consecutive pay on those pay stubs, please. SSI awards letters for the current year. Any child support or spousal support documentation. We will take either the information from the divorce decree or a printout from DHHS, whichever is easier for you to get. And for cosigner income, again, that's conventional products only. We're taking that directly from your AUS findings. For asset documentation, we do require 1 month of account statements for all deposit accounts like checking and savings, and a current statement for each asset account like retirement, 401k, investment, or health savings account. Those we understand are sometimes printed only quarterly. We will accept the most recent quarter. And a NIFA fact, missing account statements are the #1 file condition issued by the NIFA review team. Employment and credit documentation for the first home program. We're looking for verification of employment and pay stubs for your borrower, co-borrower, non-borrowing spouse, and any occupant that wishes to take title. And we need a credit report from your borrower and co-borrower. For the welcome home program, you're seeing lots of no's and NA's in those columns. That's because we simply do not need VOEs, pay stubs, or credit reports for the welcome home program. We're pulling the information directly from your AUS findings only. And for a complete list of required documents for submission, please refer to our pre-closing document checklist out in Lender Online. Pay stub review for the first home program only. Pay types, we're looking at base pay, overtime pay, any bonus or commission income, and any other types of pay. Asset types, we're looking to see where their money is going on their payroll. So are they depositing into checking, savings, any retirement or health savings accounts? For the Welcome Home program, there is simply no review of pay types or asset types, as we're only looking at your AUS findings for income. Asset documentation for the first home program, 120 days document validity period, please. Required documents, checking account statements, savings account statements, health savings account statements, retirement account statements, the mystery accounts found. Well, we also find frequent mystery accounts on already submitted account statements. For the Welcome Home program, please follow your AUS findings and agency guidelines for the document validity period. And documents required, none. They are not reviewed for NIFA. Asset statement review, first home program only. During the review of the submitted asset statements, the NIFA team examines the statements for the following items: recurring deposits, transfers between accounts. A reminder, NIFA requires all account statements. For the interest income calculation, interest income is calculated on assets totaling over $5,000 and converted to monthly income. Self-employed borrowers for the first home program, NIFA projects income forward for the next 12 months. Income documents required, most recent tax return or transcript, W-2 and 1099s, current year-to-date profit and loss if applicable, current K-1 if applicable, and the business use of home affidavit, which is a NIFA document if applicable. For the Welcome Home program for self-employed borrowers, there is no forward income projection, as we're only looking at the income from your AUS findings. Federal tax returns or transcripts. For the first home program, we're looking for 1 year, the most current year, for your borrower and co-borrower, and we need 3 years for a non-borrowing spouse or any non-borrowing occupant who wishes to take title. For the Welcome Home program, simply not required. And please note, for the first home program, tax returns do require signatures at pre-closing file submission. Tax transcripts do not require signatures at pre-closing file submission. So we will accept either tax returns or tax transcripts, whichever is easier for you to get. The pre-closing package submission must also include a fully executed purchase agreement, complete with any addendums, the full appraisal, and the preliminary title commitment. Homebuyer education. First-time homebuyers only. NIFA requires all homebuyers to complete homebuyer education before closing on a mortgage loan. NIFA prefers enrollment and participation in a face-to-face course, but we understand attending a face-to-face course is not always possible. Several online courses are available to adjust to the borrower's availability. So on the left-hand side, you have your HUD-approved counseling agencies, and on the right, national industry standards. Occupying borrowers executing the note must complete an approved class prior to closing. A certificate of completion will be issued at the conclusion of the course. This completion certificate must be included in the pre-closing package submission to NIFA. So here are the websites available out on our website to choose from. The HomeView course offered by Fannie Mae and the Credit Smart course offered by Freddie Mac are free. The Framework course, I believe, is $75. The eHome America one is $99, and you can click that button for additional courses. NIFA Lender Online, or LOL as we like to call it, is a secure site only available for NIFA-approved lenders. This is where you'll view the bulletin board, do your loan reservations and rate locks, see pipeline reports, view and download any marketing materials, see program announcements, complete the paperless file submission or eDocs process when you're uploading files and conditions, and view and print any program documents. New file submission process. Here's a glimpse of our submission checklist. The NIFA review team sends courtesy file status emails after each file review. To receive courtesy emails, the submitter must provide contact information on the submission checklist. Our team strives to provide efficient file reviews. Files submitted in checklist order are greatly appreciated. I cannot stress that enough. It's much easier and more efficient for us to review a file that's in checklist order. Pre-closing review for the first home program. Verified items. We're determining that the borrowers are first-time buyers or qualify for a waiver. We're determining the household size. We're calculating total household income is within NIFA income limits. And we're determining the purchase price is at or below the limit. What to expect from NIFA? You'll get an email notification once we have reviewed the file, and we will upload our NIFA income worksheet upon approval of the file. For the Welcome Home program, the verified items, we're looking at the income shown on your AUS findings meets the NIFA income limit. And what to expect from NIFA, again, you'll get an email notification once we have reviewed the file. Upon receipt of your login information, you can access our website at https://lol.nifa.org. A username and password will be assigned for access. So this is just your main screen at lol.nifa.org. NIFA submission packages. Please create a PDF package containing all documents necessary for NIFA approval. A single PDF package containing all the necessary documents is preferred. However, if all documents are unable to be submitted together, the customized document name should be utilized for individual submissions. So say you're just uploading an appraisal, you can choose the name appraisal from the dropdown. You'll store the PDF package type on your desktop or other location easily accessible. For the upload process, you'll begin by selecting the Loan Status tab. Search for the appropriate loan file using the quick search, 12-digit NIFA loan number, or advanced search options provided. Upon location of the appropriate file, you'll click the eDocs button to continue. Three package types are available for submission. Select the appropriate package, then click on the Add New button to begin the submission process. The package type is predefined. Next, select the Click Here button to open a search dialog window. Search your computer for scanned documents, then upload the documents. Select the applicable predefined document name, then save selected document. A message appears if you attempt to leave the Lender Online site without clicking Submit. So it'll ask you, are you sure you want to leave this page? Clicking Submit is a critical piece in the submission process. Our daily workflow reports will not reflect packages when Submit hasn't been selected. So you must click Submit in order for us to receive your documents. A confirmation message appears after successfully submitting the package item to the Lender Online portal. So then you know you've clicked Submit when you get that package submission successful. File review conditions. Conditions associated with loan file reviews can be accessed via the Lender Online portal. Using the credentials provided by your Lender Online administrator, log into the system to view outstanding loan file conditions. So same website, same lol.nifa.org. Begin by selecting the Loan Status tab. Search for the appropriate loan file using the quick search 12-digit NIFA loan number or advanced search options provided. And this time, upon location of the appropriate file, we'll click the View button to continue. Details related to the loan file are shown after opening the View button. Scroll down until the HFA Conditions Exception section appears. Information regarding the status of each review stage, as well as the assigned NIFA reviewer's name, can be found in the Stage Status Date section. As submitted conditions are reviewed and approved by the NIFA homeownership team, the condition is removed from the HFA Conditions Exceptions list. So in this example, there were 3 items necessary to complete the file review that were missing from the submission. The HFA's Conditions Exception section within the View option outline the items necessary for NIFA compliance approval. The Master Servicer Conditions Exception section within the View option outline the condition items necessary for submission to U.S. Bank. As submitted conditions are reviewed and approved by the U.S. Bank team, the condition is removed from the Master Servicer's Conditions Exceptions list. Submitting NIFA conditions. Create a PDF package containing all outstanding conditions required for NIFA approval. A single PDF package containing all the conditions is preferred. If all conditions are unable to be submitted in one package, please use the Customized Document Name option for individual document submissions. You'll store the PDF package type on your desktop or other location easily accessible, and you'll upload the same way as we did when we uploaded complete packages. NIFA review timelines. We are on next business day review for pre-closing file submissions, pre-closing condition submissions, post-closing file submissions, and post-closing condition submissions. We are on priority status review for assistance loan closing file submissions. That would be your closing disclosures and your loan estimates for the assistance loan. NIFA program forms. A reservation change request form is for use when changes are necessary to a loan reservation. This might affect the loan amount, the loan type, loan program, an address correction, so not a new address, just an address correction, and if you need to add or delete borrowers. You'll upload a copy of this form to the File and Lender Online under the Pre-Closing Package section. A cancellation request form is for use when the NIFA loan will not close, and we ask that you please include additional documentation for the following: loan denials, any appraisals or inspection issues, or if lender identified NIFA income limit has been exceeded. The completed form and supporting documentation should be uploaded to the File and Lender Online as soon as possible. Again, this form is also uploaded to the Pre-Closing Package section. NIFA program initial disclosures. Here is a signature timeline. For the first home program at application, we're looking for the household verification affidavit, the recapture tax notice, the assistance notice to borrower, if there's an assistance loan tied to the file, and the qualified veteran form if applicable. At closing, we're looking for the borrower's affidavit, the recapture tax notice again, there is one for application and one for closing, the tax-exempt financing rider that accompanies the first mortgage deed of trust, and the assistance promissory note, assistance deed of trust, and borrower acknowledgement letter if there's an assistance loan tied to the file. For the Welcome Home program, there are far less documents involved. At application, we're only looking for the assistance notice to borrowers if there's an assistance loan attached to the file. And at closing, we're looking for the borrower's affidavit and the assistance promissory note, the assistance deed of trust, and borrower acknowledgement letter only if there's an assistance loan tied to the file. NIFA will accept e-signatures on eligible program documents. We encourage all our partners to participate with e-signatures. Just a reminder, all lenders must be e-sign approved with NIFA and U.S. Bank prior to submitting e-signatures to NIFA. The household verification affidavit. There is a section on page 1 that is provided to list household members and income receipt. And on page 2, there's a section that allows for disclosure of asset accounts held by the borrower, co-borrower, and the non-borrowing spouse. We frequently see this page blank. Please help us help your borrowers to complete this completely and require signatures from the borrower, co-borrower, and non-borrowing spouse. Notice of potential recapture tax. It is important to provide the correct notice to the borrower at application and closing. You'll notice this form does say in black and underlined, delivered to each borrower and non-borrowing spouse at mortgage loan application, so you know you've got the right one, and require signatures from the borrower, co-borrower, or non-borrowing spouse. Supplemental pages to the notice provide the borrower with an example of how their recapture tax is calculated rather than utilizing their specific loan calculations. The supplemental pages to the notice must be included in the submission package to NIFA for pre-closing approval. If we do not receive the example pages attached to the notice, we do have to condition for that. Notice to borrower assistance programs. This form is for use for the Welcome Home program as well as the First Home program. The assistance loan notice to borrower requires 2 pieces of information for completion: the name of the borrowers and the address of the property being purchased. And it is signed by the borrower, co-borrower, and non-borrowing spouse. NIFA program closing documents. The borrower's affidavit. 2 pieces of information are required for completion: the new home address and NIFA's calculated household income for disclosure to the borrower. This form does go with First Home and Welcome Home, and required signatures from the borrower, co-borrower, and non-borrowing spouse. Notice of potential recapture tax, First Home program only. Again, it is important to provide the correct notice to the borrower at application and closing. You'll notice this form in black and underlined says delivered to each borrower and non-borrowing spouse at mortgage loan closing, so you know you've got the right one. This is a simple 1-page form that is signed by your borrower, co-borrower, or non-borrowing spouse at closing, because NIFA will send the final recapture tax notice with complete income tables within 90 days of closing directly to your borrower. The tax-exempt financing rider. This form applies only to the First Home program. The tax-exempt financing rider must be filed with the first mortgage deed of trust. Checkboxes are available and must be marked based on the loan type. So you'll notice there's a line for FHA and HUD, and conventional and USDA and VA, and require signatures from the borrower, co-borrower, or non-borrowing spouse. Or just a simple way to remember, whoever signs your first mortgage deed of trust must sign your tax-exempt financing rider that attaches to that document. Assistance loan second promissory note. This form applies to both the First Home and the Welcome Home program. We've broken down the first page information here. The closing date should match the closing date on the first mortgage note. The monthly payment amount is the assistance loan amount multiplied by that figure there. The first payment date should match the first payment date on the first mortgage note. And the maturity date for the assistance loan is calculated on a 10-year term. Require signatures from the borrower, co-borrower, or co-signer. Assistance loan second deed of trust. The date must match the first mortgage deed of trust. The borrower trustor's name should match the first mortgage deed of trust exactly, including marital status. On the last page, the trustor borrower name should be printed where those green arrows are, and require signatures from the borrower, co-borrower, and non-borrowing spouse. Whoever signs your first mortgage deed of trust must sign your second mortgage deed of trust. Assistance loan borrower acknowledgement letter. This form applies to both the First Home and Welcome Home program, and it is signed by your borrower and co-borrower. Seller closing disclosure. Post-closing submission packages must include a fully executed seller closing disclosure that must include the seller's signature. NIFA will accept a seller CD signed by a title company agent with the appropriate corresponding documentation, either an actual signed by the seller alta statement, or an executed power of attorney allowing for the title agent to sign on behalf of the seller. So if you see your seller CD is signed by an agent at a title company, we must have that executed power of attorney in order to approve the file. Recapture tax reimbursement. For the first home program only, recapture tax does not apply to the Welcome Home program. NIFA will reimburse recapture tax if all the following are met. Borrower sells home before the end of 9 years. Borrower's NIFA loan is active at the time when the property is sold. It hasn't been refinanced. Borrower's adjusted gross income reported on their federal tax return at the time of sale exceeds the IRS limit. The borrower must submit their claim to NIFA by July 15th following the year the home was sold. NIFA will reimburse the actual amount of recapture tax due to the IRS. And please visit our website for our full recapture tax policy. The assistance loan review for the first home program and the Welcome Home program are identical. For the minimum investment, borrowers must have a minimum of $1,000 into the transaction. NIFA does allow for the minimum investment to be gift funds. And documents required, we need the loan estimate for the assistance loan only. We do not need the loan estimate for the first loan. We need the final title balanced first mortgage closing disclosure and the final title balanced second mortgage closing disclosure. NIFA allowable fees are reviewed at this time, and it is a mandatory review. For the investment calculation, for that $1,000, we're looking at the earnest money, any paid outside of closing items paid by the borrower, deposits collected by the lender, any cash brought to closing, and any cash back at closing. Just a reminder, the assistance loan amount should be reduced to avoid cash back while still meeting the $1,000 minimum investment. We do allow cash back on NIFA files. That being said, they must meet the $1,000 minimum investment first. Regulation items, the assistance loan is not an assumable loan. The loan cannot be subordinated, and the federal disclosures are required: the IRLA, the initial and final, the loan estimate, and the closing disclosure. Here's a list of our allowable fees. Some items we recently changed. We do allow up to $1,000 for the lender processing fee, and our broker admin fee is not to exceed $600. For the Welcome Home program, we do allow an origination fee of 0.50%. Origination fees are not allowed on the first home program. So that is Welcome Home only. Program reminders for the first home program and Welcome Home program. These columns are identical. These are items we frequently condition for. We see a lot of incorrect payment amounts on the assistance loan. So just a reminder, to calculate that, you'll multiply the assistance loan amount by that figure there. We see a lot of incorrect maturity dates on the assistance loans. Just a reminder, all assistance loans are amortized on a 10-year, 120-month term. And we see a lot of errors on the assistance deed of trust. Reminder that the borrower trustor's names should match the first mortgage deed of trust exactly, including marital status. All signers to the deeds of trust must have their names typed under their signature lines. All persons executing the deeds of trust must be reflected in the notary block. And we see missing signatures. Just a reminder, if the borrower, co-borrower, or non-borrowing spouse signs the first mortgage equivalent document, the assistance loan document requires the same signatures. Thank you for joining me today for operations training.